Sometimes it feels like the world only shows us the noisiest moments. This is 10 Better Minutes, a podcast that shares a quiet selection of real stories from the past week that gently remind us there is more to the world than what tends to dominate the headlines. I'm your host, Ian Rhodes, and I appreciate you choosing to spend a little time here today. The stories you will hear are a chance to notice the steady, quieter ways kindness and courage still show up around us. But first, I want to start with a story about a 14-year-old rodeo roper who used his lasso to rescue a man caught in a swift river current. On the 4th of July weekend near Graycliff in Sweetgrass County, a group fell from a raft and a paddleboard into the Yellowstone River. 3 people managed to reach shore, but one man was left clinging to a cooler and drifting downstream, helplessly moving with the current while everyone tried to catch up. And then Jory Thomas did something that feels so grounded, so real. He is only 14 years old, practicing roping in Big Timber, Montana. When he heard screaming, he did not freeze. He waded into the river up to his chest, lifted his lariat, and on his first try, he got the man looped around the arm and neck in a way that helped him pull free and come towards safety. His father called for help right away, and police records show a sheriff's deputy arrived in about 3 minutes. Authorities said Thomas' actions likely made the difference in reaching shore. What sticks with me is how trust in people can look like something simple, not hero movie moments, just quick thinking, practice skill, and the courage to step forward when you hear someone in trouble. You know that feeling when you wish someone would just do something? Jory did, and the community did too. In the middle of a holiday weekend, a young roper turned his everyday practice into a lifeline, and that is the kind of kindness that lingers. It is one of those quietly powerful ideas. If animals can move safely, ecosystems stay connected. Today we look at a practical project in Brazil that is doing exactly that. Along the highways in Brazil, forests are cut into pieces, and for animals that live in the canopy, roads can become risky barriers. Projeto Reconecta responded by installing simple rope and canopy bridges in places like Alta Floresta. In 2024, they put in 8 bridges, designed for arboreal animals to cross above the roadway instead of descending into traffic. What makes the work feel grounded is how closely it was monitored. A camera trap study ran for 15 months using 2 camera traps per bridge, one facing the crossing and one facing the forest. The results were strikingly reassuring. Documented were about 15,000 safe crossings by arboreal animals, and there was no roadkill recorded during the monitoring period. Even more encouraging, the team is not stopping at the first sites. Biologist Fernanda Abra shared that 8 more bridges are planned for the urban area in August, with power lines lowered and insulated to keep the crossing safe in everyday conditions. And beyond one city, the bridge design is gaining national momentum. In 2026, Brazil's National Department of Transport Infrastructure designated it as the recommended national highway standard. It is a reminder that progress can be specific, measurable, and hopeful, and that building for safe movement helps entire forests keep moving too. There is something quietly moving about seeing a species come back, not through luck, but through careful attention over time. In Serbia, the eastern Imperial eagle is rebounding in a way that researchers can now put numbers to. After targeted conservation began in 2017, the country has moved from having only 1 known breeding pair to counting 29 breeding pairs. This most successful year since the program started included 16 of those pairs helping 25 chicks to hatch and fledge. Many of the birds were sighted in the Banat region along the Tisa River, where observers have been looking closely enough to notice changes that used to be easy to miss. And the recovery is not staying in just one place. For the first time, a nesting couple was found in southern Baca, expanding where the eagles choose to raise their young. The Serbian Bird Protection and Research Society has also been planning to fit some young fledglings with radio transceivers when possible and safe. That kind of tracking will not change the outcome overnight, but it can help explain what the young birds need, where they travel, and what conditions matter most for their survival. It is a hopeful picture, built from repeated field days, patient monitoring, and small steps that add up. When the world feels loud with uncertainty, it helps to remember that safety can still be made, step by careful step. The Big Cat Sanctuary near Ashford, Kent raised $180,000 to support an urgent evacuation, and then they followed through, moving Ursa, a Eurasian lynx, back to England in February. Ursa had been found seriously ill in Kiev the previous January, and the sanctuary described the trip back as high risk, with complex border crossings happening in an active war zone. Even after arriving, the work did not stop. She spent time in a temporary enclosure while a specially built outdoor space was completed, and this week that enclosure opened its gate to a new kind of freedom. Ursa was finally able to step out onto grass for the first time in her new Kent home, taking in air, light, and open space that belonged to her, not to circumstances. It is a quiet miracle, really. Hope does not always arrive as a sudden rescue. Sometimes it looks like fundraising updates, careful planning, and patient waiting until recovery has room to breathe. And once Ursa went outdoors, she was not alone. Her new permanent home also includes other rescued wildcats, including Reese the Eurasian lynx, Blob the bobcat, and Boson the fishing cat. In the midst of everything, she got a start that can grow. There's something quietly powerful about a city gathering around music, especially when the message is compassion. Glenn Hansard's Christmas Eve. Busk became one of those moments that turned attention into real support. It began in 2010 when Glenn Hansard organized the first official Christmas Eve Busk for the Dublin Simon community. He brought together leading Irish musicians for a night that felt both intimate and public, with names like Bono, Sinead O'Connor, Imelda May, and Shane MacGowan stepping in to sing and stand with the cause. Dublin Simon later shared condolences after his passing, noting their relationship started with that first busk. Before this tradition took hold, homelessness crisis awareness and funding still needed steady support to help keep Dublin Simon services running for people experiencing homelessness. The busk gave that support a clear, joyful focus. Over time, it became an iconic Dublin Christmas event in Dublin, drawing people in year after year while raising more than €2 million. That money did not just make headlines. Dublin Simon said it has been used directly for essential services, helping people when they needed it most. And in their message, they offered condolences to his wife, Mare, and his son, Christy. What stays with me is how trust in people can sound like a song. Sometimes advocacy grows best from a simple commitment to show up together on the same evening for the same human need. As always, I have a gentle tip to help you reset your mind and find a little more ease in everyday life. Today, we are looking at something simple and honestly, surprisingly powerful. Noticing where people still help each other face to face. Start with a small question you can carry with you. Where do I see real support happening without an app, without a screen, without anyone making it a performance? Maybe it is the neighbor who brings in packages, the cashier who remembers your name, or the parent at the bus stop who shares a spare bottle of water. Notice it, even if it feels ordinary. Ordinary is where community lives. Then take one tiny step. Volunteer 1 hour at a local food pantry. Join a community garden. Sit in at a neighborhood meeting and ask what needs help right now. If you are not ready for anything big, try a micro action today. Hold the door, return a lost item, or check in with one person whose week you can imagine might be heavy. When you look for face-to-face kindness, you train your brain to notice hope. And when you add even a little of your own, you help it grow. Well, friends, we made it to the end of this episode of 10 Better Minutes. I hope those stories left you with a steadier feeling than the noise that sometimes fills the rest of the day. Even when things feel heavy, there is still quiet decency out there. People show up for one another, communities keep moving, and kindness keeps finding its way through. If you want a daily dose of that perspective, please follow or subscribe, and you can come back for new episodes posted every day. And if you have a good news story link or a local positive moment you think more people should hear about, share it in the comments. I really do appreciate those. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.